Now on Sunrise and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, a regional task force made a drug bust seizing over 100 kilos of an illegal substance. The details just ahead. And Victoria County Commissioners approved a tax rate. More on that coming up. Plus, another wildfire broke out in California, the fire continuing to spread while thousands evacuate.
And soon-to-be Hurricane Francine will be making landfall in southern Louisiana tomorrow. What does that mean here at the Crossroads? That means we're going to be heating up, actually. We'll take a look at that in the weather coming up.
Shiner Comanche star Addie Siegel commits to LSU yesterday. I'll highlight that in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now Sunrise. Good morning and thank you for joining us on your Tuesday morning. Parker, there is a lot going on in the Gulf, but thankfully we are just going to have a few clouds in the sky.
That's right. Actually, thankfully, we're not going to be dealing too much with Francine, but Louisiana, though, they're going to be hit right on.
Yes, be sure to check on our neighbors in
100%.
Louisiana.
Yes.
But here in the Crossroads, we'll have a few clouds, so it could be a good day to get those holiday portraits taken.
That's right.
Get those senior portraits taken while it's still clear.
Yeah, it's going to be mostly cloudy today with maybe a few showers in the area. Just keep your phone handy on you. Make sure to keep on checking that radar because I do have chances at 40%. But we're going to look at that in just a second because right now it's another nice and humid, actually not humid morning. It's very dry out there after the front passed through this weekend. I hope y'all love that beautiful weekend we had. Right now we're sitting at 74 degrees and look at the sunrise that's starting to come up. Pretty sunny, partly cloudy skies, and the clouds are starting to very slowly roll in. But your dew point at a 61 degrees, very lovely, bringing humidity to 64%. Much bigger change than the 90% range that we see every other morning for the rest of the summer. But looking at your radar this morning, I bet you all were expecting lots of showers out there right now. Got you good. There's no rain out there right about now. And actually, I'm thinking a radar is going to look mostly like that for the rest of today. Like I said, chances at 40%. We're going to look at the future radar here in a little bit. But look at your future tracker for Francine. Like I said, that's going to be making landfall in probably south of Lafayette as we go into tomorrow late morning, maybe around noontime. But with us being on the western sort of dry side of another tropical system, which is what we've been seeing for the same thing the last several weeks with any tropical system that comes our way, we're not really expecting too much. But that doesn't mean that we're not expecting anything. We are still expecting some tropical depression/storm conditions along our immediate coast, just kind of barely, which you can see here with their wind field. That's why we have tropical storm watch in effect for our coast. That's why we have alert day issued for today, cutting off tomorrow for 1 to 3 feet of storm surge possible, wind gusts up to 35 miles an hour, and 1 to 2 inches of rain closest to the beach. But coming up next in the full forecast, we'll time out the rain, and we'll look at that and more. Back to Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Victoria County deputies found drugs during a traffic stop Friday. The Crossroads High Intensity Drug Trafficking Area Task Force stopped a vehicle on U.S. Highway 77 in Victoria County. Police used a canine unit and heavy equipment to find drugs in the truck's hidden compartment. 100 bundles of cocaine were found with a total weight of about 110 kilograms. Authorities say no arrests were made. The investigation with Homeland Security continues. Victoria County Commissioners approved their 2025 budget and set the tax rate for property owners. Commissioners adopted a tax rate of over 38 cents per $100 valuation. They've estimated that to be around 4.16% of an increase in the rate from last year. A household valued at $100,000 should see a 30-cent decrease in taxes. That's according to the tax assessor's office. The commissioners are expecting a $375,675 increase in revenue from new properties in the new spending plan. In other business, the court found an error with a missing 3% from the sheriff's salary. The commissioners said on the record that they would reimburse the missing funds with a $3,400 stipend in 2026. Award-winning actor James Earl Jones has died at 93. His career spanned more than 6 decades. While Jones was well known for the many roles he played on Broadway, television, and in the movies, it was his signature voice, that booming baritone, that made him stand apart. Some of his iconic roles were ones where we never saw him on screen, voicing Darth Vader in the Star Wars movies and as Mufasa in the Disney animated film The Lion King. No cause of death is revealed, but a representative says he was surrounded by family when he died Monday. We're learning more about Sunday's incident between officers and Dolphins wide receiver Tyreek Hill. The police union says Hill was not immediately cooperative. The Dolphins say some officers mistook their responsibility with misguided power.
Released body camera video shows the moment police detained Miami Dolphins star wide receiver Tyreek Hill. Officers say they pulled him over near Hard Rock Stadium for speeding and reckless driving. Then this happened.
Keep your window down. I'm going to get you out of the car. As a matter of fact, get out of the car.
What starts as a dispute between an officer and Hill about keeping the car's window rolled down escalates to Hill being ripped from his seat.
Get out. Get out.
Hill is forced down onto the pavement. Officers handcuff the NFL star and bring him to his feet, then pin him back down to the ground.
I just had surgery on my knee. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery on my knee, bro. I just had surgery in your ears when we go there with your window down. Bro, chill, bro.
Fellow Dolphins player Jonnu Smith arriving on the scene. Police tell Smith not to park there and to get in his car.
This is my car. All right, move. I'll take that. You gotta move right now.
The officer demands Smith's license, then threatens to lock him up. As that officer runs Smith's license, another officer explains who Tyreek Hill is. Meanwhile, another teammate, Calais Campbell, arrives, police demanding he leave as well.
This is a lawful traffic stop. We can do this. What you're doing is not lawful, sir. You need to leave, okay?
Campbell refusing and police detaining him, briefly placing him in cuffs.
I told you.
Fans in Dolphins jerseys headed to the game pass by as it all unfolds. Towards the end of the incident, officers try to explain why they initially pulled over Hill.
Driving reckless, that's behind the turnpike, and that's the reason they called out your vehicle, saying you were driving reckless.
But they don't still give you no reason to pull me, snatch me out my car, do it.
Hill responding to the body camera video saying he's embarrassed and shell-shocked.
I didn't want to create a scene at all. Like, I just really wanted to get the ticket and then just go on about my way and then just, just have a great Sunday.
The Dolphins are calling for swift action against the officers. One is already on administrative leave. Andrew Dimbert, ABC News, New York.
SpaceX launched its Polaris Dawn crew from the Kennedy Space Center in Florida this morning. The mission is carrying 4 crew members to the highest orbital altitude that humans have not reached since the final Apollo moon mission in 1972. That is more than 3 times higher than the International Space Station. The 5-day mission will include the first spacewalk carried out by an all-civilian crew. The group will also test new spacesuits and technologies that could pave the way for future long-duration missions to the moon and eventually Mars. Another wildfire is exploding in the hills of Southern California. The airport fire burning in Trabuco Canyon erupted Monday afternoon near an airport for model airplanes. It quickly grew to more than 2,000 acres, forcing mandatory evacuation orders for several Orange County communities. Fire officials say more than 40 units of firefighters are attacking the blaze from the ground and air as they try to protect homes, and the cause of the fire has not yet been determined. Remember, subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click the notification bell. The time is now 6:38 on our Tuesday morning. Here's a look at what's coming up on 25 News Now Sunrise. We learn how the Food Bank of the Golden Crescent is using Hunger Action Month to help raise awareness.
We are just hours away from the first ever presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. I'm Christiane Cordero at the National Constitution Center in Philadelphia.
And also coming up next after the break in the full forecast, we'll take a look at the timing for the rain for the rest of today. We'll also look at your weather and health forecast. And coming up later on Sunrise, we'll take another look at your marine forecast and everything else that's going on with Francine and the rest of the Atlantic. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If you're tuning in with us this morning and looking live in Cuero, look at that pretty sunrise starting to come up. And if you're going to go see that sunrise, it is a fantastic time to do that. It is beautiful outside right now, sitting at 71 degrees. Dew point at a lovely 57 after that cool front came through over the weekend, bringing our humidity way down to 62%. So definitely get out there and enjoy that. before we actually start heating up for the rest of this week. We're looking at that in just a second. Because looking at your future clouds and your radar for today, I've got rain chances today at 40%. That's going to drop down to 20% tomorrow for maybe a few spotty showers, but otherwise not too much in terms of rain, I'm thinking today, because going into the later morning hours, there might be a few showers out there. This computer thinks around 10 or 11 a.m. there might be a few showers, but I'm thinking our best shot is going to be in the mid to late afternoon time for the best shot of rain today, because here's 1, 2, and then 3 p.m. somewhere around the mid-afternoon. I'm thinking there will be more showers starting to develop off of another band coming off of Francine, starting to move into our area and through other parts of the crossroads before it starts clearing back up to partly cloudy skies overnight and into tomorrow. But with the mostly cloudy skies today and a few showers in the area today, it's going to be another lovely day in terms of temperatures. I'm thinking about 87 here in Victoria. Northwestern counties, y'all might see a degree or two higher because y'all are getting that land heated air, but otherwise, there is actually some bad news to today. Pollen's going to be a little bit high. I'm talking about grass. Grass is going to be high, and ragweed's going to be moderate, so I might maybe recommend taking an allergy pill for today. But there is good news, is that's air quality. That's going to be good, and your UV index, that's going to be high to very high with just a few peaks of sunshine for today. But as we go into this weekend, Francine pushes off and we get the western side, and that's going to heat us up. And we're going to take a look at that and the rest of the tropics coming up next. And now here's sports.
The defending state champion Shiner softball team had one girl commit to play D1 ball. Addie Siegel announced she will be going to LSU to play softball. As a sophomore, she hit .481 and crushed 10 homers last season. She led almost every offensive category for the ladies last season, and she's just excited to be a Tiger and thinks Shiner softball has her ready for the next level.
LSU, from the top to the bottom, coaches to facilities to just the school and the atmosphere of the campus is amazing. And as soon as I stepped on campus, I felt at home, and I knew I couldn't pass it up. The Shiner softball program is amazing. From Coach Keller and Coach Walker to Coach Rehak, it's amazing, and how they prepare us for college softball. Really, I mean, looking at their practice at LSU and ours, it's pretty similar. So I'm excited to get to play.
The Comanches returned 7 of 9 starters this year. This is Max Williams, 25 News Now Sports.
Away from the first ever presidential debate between former President Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris, ABC News will host the candidates in Philadelphia.
Vice President Kamala Harris has arrived in Philadelphia. How are you feeling? And at one of the most consequential days of her political career. In just hours, she'll stand 6 feet apart from former President Donald Trump, their campaign trails intersecting on a debate stage for the first time ever. Trump expected to arrive later today for what will be his 7th presidential debate.
I just can't wait for this debate to help American citizens decide on who to vote for.
I haven't swayed who I'm going to vote for, but I still want to hear what all parties have to say, though.
Hosting the debate, Philadelphia's National Constitution Center. ABC News' David Muir and Lindsay Davis will moderate in front of a countdown clock that tells candidates how much time they have before their microphones turn off. The mics will stay muted until it's each candidate's turn to speak. ABC's Rachel Scott on the debate stage.
This room is quite intimate. There will be no studio audience to cheer them on, no campaign staff allowed in this room, and the candidates will not be allowed to talk to campaign staff during the commercial breaks either.
Trump's last presidential debate was less than 3 months ago, but the dynamics could not be more different. The former president is now the oldest person in the race, almost 2 decades older than his new opponent. Harris has spent the past week largely away from the spotlight, instead preparing with mock debates under full studio lighting.
That we should be prepared for the fact that he is not burdened by telling the truth.
Trump held a rally over the weekend.
Is anybody going to be watching?
No mock debates, no studio lighting. Instead, meeting with advisors, including former Democratic presidential candidate Tulsi Gabbard, with this preview of Trump's strategy on Fox.
She cannot run away from her record.
The latest polling shows the race tied 49-49 with 56 days to go before Election Day. Christiane Cordero, ABC News, Philadelphia.
That leads us to your viewer poll. You can scan the QR code on your screen to take part. We want to know, do you agree with the use of muted microphones during the presidential debate? Okay, let's take a look. 81% of you say yes, you do, and 19% of you say no, you do not. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part in our viewer poll. The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent is using Hunger Action Month to help raise awareness of food needs in our community. More and more people are turning to the food bank to fill the gap of food insecurity. In fact, the state of Texas ranks second in the country for the number of food insecure residents. The Food Bank of the Golden Crescent serves 11 counties in the Crossroads, and officials say it takes an entire community for them to fulfill their mission.
Help us by coming in and volunteering their time to help us repackage and sort food, or they can donate monetarily. Every dollar helps us provide 8 meals. Just get the word out of the good job that the food bank does, and make sure that if they know someone that's facing food insecurity, that they direct them to us so that we can, at least assist.
The public is invited to volunteer at the food bank. It's at 801 South Laurent, or you can simply tour the facility to learn more about how they're feeding the community. Students were allowed to go back inside Apalachee High School for the first time since last week's deadly mass shooting. On Monday, the principal permitted students to get their belongings. Many left their things behind when they ran away from gunfire in an effort to seek safety. On Wednesday of last week, 14-year-old Colt Gray shot and killed 2 students and 2 teachers at the school. The Barrow County School District said it's not sure when classes will resume for Apalachee High School students. The time is now, let's get a look at our clock up here. It is 6:46 on our Tuesday morning. Still to come, a new study on the toll the pandemic took on teenagers. Okay, it's time to celebrate some birthdays. Happy birthday to comedian Matt Rife. The stand-up turns 29 today.
Ooh, happy birthday, Matt. And also Aerosmith lead guitarist Joe Perry. He's turning 74 today. Happy birthday, Joe, and dream on. And to see your birthday wish live on 25 News Now Sunrise, come to crossroadstoday.com, click the drop-down menu, then click the home tab, and then you'll see submit your birthday photo.
I gotta check myself, but do they also do like walk this way?
Oh, I'm sure I wouldn't be surprised.
Love Aerosmith.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, the time is now 6:47 on our Tuesday morning. Happy birthday if you're celebrating one today.
That's right, happy birthday. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, good morning, Crossroads. If you're tuning in with us this morning, I'm sure a lot of y'all are wondering what is going on with Francine, which is right now about 150 miles southeast of Brownsville. But what you're looking at right now is the past 6 hours radar loop of Francine. And you'll notice in the first half of the loop, it is actually heading a little bit more west-west-northwest, a little bit closer to the Mexican coast. But in the second half of the radar loop, you'll notice it is starting to shift a little bit more northeast as we start going into later today and all the way into tomorrow. It'll actually continue down that northeasterly path. And you're actually looking at the future cone as we go all the way into tomorrow, where it will be making landfall in Louisiana. So I'm thinking somewhere south of Lafayette, somewhere sometime tomorrow late morning, maybe around noontime. But you'll notice here on the Crossroad, we are going to be a tad bit close, maybe about coming in around 100 miles away from that hurricane force winds and maybe even the tropical force winds as well, which is why we actually have an alert day for today. I've actually canceled tomorrow's alert day because we're not going to be expecting too much in terms of those effects. But looking at your effects for today for the alert day details, we are expecting 1 to 3 feet of storm surge, especially along our immediate, or actually all of our effects are going to be along the immediate coastal crossroads for today. Wind gusting up to 35 miles an hour at times, perhaps a 40 mile an hour wind gust can't be ruled out, but also 1 to 2 inches of rain possible in some local areas. But looking at the future tracker for Francine, as like I said, you can see going all the way into tomorrow, making landfall somewhere south of Lafayette, somewhere in the late morning around noontime. But we're going to be on the western side of that. And what does that mean for us? We're actually going to be warming up as we go through the rest of this week with that northerly wind back to the mid and upper 90s. But we're going to look at that and more later on Sunrise. Back to Carolina.
Thank you, Parker. Now to a new study on the toll the pandemic took on teens. Researchers say teenagers' brains aged more rapidly, especially in girls.
Study is revealing unusual changes in teenagers' brain development during the pandemic.
It's not that surprising to know that there are actual brain changes that happened during the pandemic, given everything that teens, especially teen girls, faced.
The study found COVID-era lockdowns ended up aging teenagers' brains faster than the usual rate, more than 4 years faster than usual in girls, compared to just over a year faster in boys.
The authors hypothesize that adolescent girls were affected more than boys because they may be more dependent on that social interaction and being able to connect with their friends.
Back in 2018, researchers began tracking brain changes in 160 people ages 9 to 17. They found lockdowns contributed to an increase of anxiety, depression, and behavioral disorders, causing their brains to mature faster. The same type of accelerated brain aging has been documented in teens who've suffered severe trauma, stress, and neglect.
But it's important to note that these studies don't exactly tell us what the long-term effects are or if the process can be reversed or slowed down with the right type of emotional support moving forward.
Rhiannon Alley, ABC News, New York.
An Israeli declared safe zone appears to have come under fire from Israeli forces. Palestinian officials say entire families are still buried in the sand and debris. At least 40 people are dead. Witnesses report at least 5 missiles struck that area at night, hitting an encampment in the humanitarian zone, home to tens of thousands of displaced Palestinians. Israel says a senior Hamas terrorist operating a command center in the humanitarian zone attempted to migrate people. Palestinian officials say there was no advance warning of the strike. Still to come on Sunrise News to know before you go. The FBI released a report saying victims reported more than $5.6 billion in fraud. On Monday, the FBI released a report saying victims reported more than $5.6 billion in fraud related to cryptocurrency in 2023. That's a 45% increase from losses reported in 2022. The overall increase in fraud is fueled by a jump in crypto-related investment scams. An FBI official says this is the first time the agency has published a report explicitly focused on crypto-related fraud from a larger set of annual fraud data. Forecasters say Tropical Storm Francine could be a Category 2 hurricane by the time it makes landfall. Storm preparations are underway in Gulf Coast states today as Francine strengthens off the Texas shore. Near Houston, Galveston is getting ready. Francine is expected to make landfall in Louisiana tomorrow. Forecasters predict dangerous storm surge and flooding all along the coast. Forecasters say Francine could make it as far north as the lower Midwest. It's likely to be a depression by then. Today, the City Council will hold its final public hearing on the city's budget and tax rate. They'll then adopt and approve a budget for the fiscal year starting October 1 in the amount of $194,116,623. and a tax rate of 47 cents per $100 of property valuation. The council meets at 107 West 1 Lynn Street at 5 p.m. And we want to invite you to take part in our digital streaming service, Crossroads Today Plus. You can find it on your connected TV. Just search for Crossroads Today Plus. And Texas is inching closer to adopting revised oil and gas waste management rules for the first time in 4 decades. Read this story by the Texas Tribune on our website, crossroadstoday.com. And we have time for a look at our sunrise with Parker. Parker, how's it looking out there?
Well, Carolina, it's looking pretty cloudy out there right now. Actually, you're looking, Carolina said it looks a little bit like that right now. Looking live here in Fort Lavaca, very, very nice out there right now. Actually, looking just updated on me, even prettier out there right now. 77 degrees, but your dew point at a lovely 66 degrees, much lower than the 70s that we've been seeing all summer long because of that cool front we had this weekend, bringing the humidity to 69% this morning. So definitely go out there and enjoy that before we start heating up this week. But for today, I'm thinking of a nice day today. I'm thinking about 85 degrees in Fort Lavaca. Y'all are going to have some showers in the vicinity pretty much all day long, but in Victoria, I'm thinking our best shot for showers today is going to be the late afternoon, maybe mid to late afternoon. Get up to about 87, and in Aquara, about the exact same thing, about 87 as well in the late afternoon as well. But for the rest of us, as we go into the rest of this week and this weekend, as Francine pushes off, we're going to be on the western side, and we're going to be nothing but heating up back to the 90s, mid 90s.
All right, I'm getting ready for that heat.
That's right.
Thank you, Parker, and thank y'all for joining us. Have a wonderful, wonderful Tuesday, and remember to follow us on our YouTube channel and join Shauna, Dawn, and Mac and Max today for 25 News Now at 5, 6, and 10.